Welcome to the Veterans Impact Show, where our commitment is to help, hope, and healing of our veteran family and our nation. I'm Jim Blythe, a U.S. Navy veteran and a certified senior advisor. Join us as we continue the mission of leadership and commitment to our communities and our great country. Why, you never know where we're going to go or who you're going to meet. We invite you to join in, plug in, and share in what we do. This is your Veterans Impact Show.
Hey, welcome aboard. I'm Jim Blythe, U.S. Navy veteran. I got two very close friends here today. We're going to have too much fun. I'm just kind of going to turn it over to them and let them go. I want to introduce you to Cedric White, who's my co-host. He is absolutely the best marriage counselor I have ever seen and minister of the church we go to.
Thanks,
we love it, Cedric.
I appreciate it.
And we have a lot of fun.
That's right.
And we got some great music. You're going to get better too, huh?
Amen.
Amen. And Chuck Wright. Actually, I joined when it was Alliance for the Brave about a month after you started the program. That has morphed into the Veterans Impact Show.
Yep.
And you got busy and went other ways. You got busy with TVC, Texas Veterans Commission. Now you're the commissioner for what, North Central Texas?
North Central Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. And you do you do more events. You know more people than, I mean, you about right up there with the governor.
I hope the audience understands it's starting to get deep. Fortunately, we're on bar stools. My feet are up off the ground because it's getting deep in here.
All right. U.S. Marine between two sailors. Could get bad. Let me tell you.
Well, you do realize that Navy did, in fact, beat Army.
Yeah.
But do you also realize the other significance of that game?
There was a whole bunch of guys that are going to be in the Marine Corps on the team?
No.
Oh, okay. What?
That's the only day Marines will admit they're part of the Navy.
Oh. You give me such a hard time. You say, yeah, we're the men's department of the Navy. Okay.
Yeah. That was one of my favorite jokes with my father-in-law, who is also a Navy vet.
Yeah.
And we're joined by another Marine and my good friend, Joe Esparze. Speaking of meeting people, who's now the chairman of the Texas Workforce Commission.
Well, let's introduce Joe. Introduce Joe.
I kind of just started there, but Joe Esparze is the recently appointed chairman of the Texas Workforce Commission. And I love to brag about him because they are one of Texas Veterans Commission's strongest partners. We have great relationships with all the other state agencies, but I think this is about the strongest one. Welcome, Joe. And another Marine, I might add.
Oops, there you go. Joe, you are a Marine as well. What did you do in the Marine Corps?
Yes, sir. I was a mechanic. I served with 123 here in Texas, joined in right around 1999. And got in, did some reserve time, and deployed to Iraq. But most of the time, I was a 3521 mechanic with Motor T. So I kept our trucks running and our Humvees on the road. And
then, Chuck, you were rotorhead. You were a helicopter pilot.
I was a helicopter pilot. And for those who don't speak Marine, 123 is 1st Battalion, 23rd Marines. That's the reserve unit down in Houston.
Oh, okay.
And very near and dear to my heart because my little brother was the I&I, the instructor inspector for 223, which is based in Pasadena.
And Brother Cedric, you were a gunner's mate.
Gunner's mate missile technician. We shot things and we blew things up. That's as much as I like that.
Yeah. Well, I'm the old guy because I'm Vietnam veteran. I was on aircraft carriers and I was in naval aviation. I got to tell you, this is so much fun. But what's really cool, Joe, you got a guy working for you, I believe, Ron Abramson, who joined us with his program a number of years ago. And he worked for you guys as a veteran. And he told me a great deal about what the Texas Veterans Workforce Commission does. And it's amazing because you do everything you can to help veterans get jobs. So, Joe, tell us about what you guys do.
Yeah, well, it really, so the Texas Workforce Commission, we are basically in charge of seeking and finding connections between job seekers and employers. And we do that also by relaying grant initiative dollars to train and upskill. So not only helping finding people jobs, but also increasing their skills so that they can, in turn earn more and find, higher paying jobs or work their way up into good ladders. Most of our veteran initiatives are structured around that type of connection. We have one of our great leaders here, Bob Gear, Army man, tanker. So he knows how to get things done. He spearheads a lot of our outreach and works directly with the Texas Veterans Commission, those folks over there, to make sure these initiatives are moving in the right direction. We're removing barriers to get access to these resources. So a lot of that really kind of revolves around making sure that we offer specific incentives, specific availability for veterans, first in line kind of things. We have between that, two of our biggest programs over at the TWC is the Hiring Red, White, and U initiative. So these are job fairs specifically for veterans all across the state. So, and those usually wrap up or start around late October into November, around the, strike while the iron is hot around November, so that we make sure that employers are able to put that on their calendar throughout the year. So that's one of the great programs. The other one is special recognition for employers, so businesses that seek to hire veterans. And what we do is We Hire Vets program recognizes businesses with 10% or higher of veteran employees, right? So, for instance, the Texas Veterans Commission, I think, hits more than 79% veterans. Obviously, it's like 80%. Is that, Chuck, Commissioner Wright?
Yes, we love it.
So I think the joke is that this is an employer just below the actual military that has the highest, that has the highest percentage of veterans working for them too. So those are some great events. And again, I think currently, we have, what is it, close to 2 million, 1.7 million veterans in the state of Texas, ready to work as soon as they whether they go a full career and then join the workforce, or if they do 4 years and get in, if they're reservists and they jump out. We want to be able to catch them, not only them, but their spouses, their families, and make sure that they're supported, because the way we see it, there's a break between about a third of the veteran population that leaves the military here in the state of Texas. They probably go back to where they went into where they entered, right? 1/3 stays here in Texas because we love them so much, and they've been able to witness the great things that the state does. But then there's also that 1/3 that if they had a job and they had good support, their families were able to find a job, they would stay. And those are the folks that we want to capture, because again, we talk about them being motivated, duty oriented, highly skilled. They've been trained. They know so much things right now, getting out of their experience, and we want to utilize them. And I always kind of joke, it's like they also have the best jokes, around the coffee pot when it comes down to.
Hey, Joe, if I could jump in real fast.
Yeah, please.
I kind of wanted to do two things. How many of the Red, White, and U hiring events were there in the fall?
I believe we had, I can tell you right now, every workforce we had, about 28 of them. So I think we probably topped over 30 of those events across the state, because some workforce locations or regions had more than one. So okay. That's a good initiative. But I believe since its start, we've collected, I think, about the employers, about 26,000 employers have been engaged in the program. A little over 150,000 veterans. That we've made those connections between employers and veterans. And I think that was what we really strive for, is making sure that, I believe in Brazos Valley, there was roughly about 35 employers. In San Antonio, it was over 50 employers inside there. Boeing, JBC, all these really great locations, and we try to get as many as one as we can. I think I was able to hit 4 or 5 this year, and each location was wonderfully impactful to the veteran population. Our color guard comes out and kicks off the event, and we recognize specific people in the community. So I think it's a good group, and I think we're going to be making sure that we can expand each year.
Yeah, they're absolutely great events. And I've got a quick question for you, but I wanted to say something. The Texas Workforce Commission serves the entire state, and they are critical to keeping what we call the Texas Miracle going. But they do a great deal of work with veterans. But anybody who's listening, if you need employment help, and whether you're a veteran or not, TWC is a great way to get started. One of the things I was going to ask you, Joe, is to drill a little deeper into what kind of you're looking for. And I will say this, because I went to 4 events in North Texas, workforce solution events, kind of what you're looking for, and explain a little bit about what workforce solutions is, because it's I'm not even sure how you guys have got that set up. I'm still confused about all that, but I confuse easily.
And thank you. Listen, gentlemen, thank you so much for the opportunity to get this out here, because a lot of there's sometimes misunderstanding that people think that's just the unemployment office. This is where I go get my benefits. We have that. We can help with that, especially so in the state of Texas. The workforce development what we call the local workforce boards, are broken up into 28 different sections, and each of those 28 has a collection of counties depending on where you're at. This is your front door to resources that the state provides, wraparound services, all the way to the beginning. If there's even homeless to our homeless population that needs specific outreach for mental. We're able to connect that person with the resources they need so that they can sustain and find a job and sustain employment, right? So it's not only important that you find a job, that would hire you or get your availability, but transportation, you have to be somebody who's employable, and there's a lot of things that fall into that category. Help with transportation is available in some cases. Just kind of, like I said, some social work to make sure that you can get there. Vocational rehabilitation is a big part of those local workforce boards when it comes down to it. But ultimately, the partnership that we have with the local community, and I think this is one of the best things that the local boards are able to accomplish, is they know who's in their backyard. They know what groups are available, and they solidify these partnerships to make sure that, specifically in veterans, if veteran population shows up at my front door, we can tell them, for instance, that Airstream company locally that makes the Airstream trailers, they're hiring, and they'll pay for tuition and provide them a tool set to get them started. And ultimately, these are the type of partnerships that we see. Chuck is very familiar with Forge Now up there at the in the DFW area, that specifically goes after veterans and is able to put them through trade skills so that they're picked up, and they provide them a tool set and everything. But again, the local workforce board is the first call that people should be making when it comes to finding a job, or if they're looking to change jobs and they're looking to upskill. Well, they've got a lot of great resources to walk these folks.
Joe, one of the things that I was told, you have a actual veteran with the Texas Veterans Workforce in every one of the workplace offices, and they can take a veteran who is still in the military or coming out, and they don't know how to fill out or build a resume. Because in today's world, people don't read the resumes. Computers read the resumes. So you have to have very specific language and terms and triggers. And there are things like that that people don't know. And so you've got somebody there that can actually start, how do you build a resume? How do we get you this? How do we get you that to help you get employed? It's not just, here's a piece of paper, go call Joe. Here's some help to get you there.
That's great. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Shameless plug. My brother served in the Air Force. He went to the Air Force Academy, and he's currently works for a company, and he has a very technical resume. And he sent it to me, and he's looking to find another company somewhere, where they moved to San Antonio. He gave me his resume, and I was like, I cannot read your resume because it's technical. Very high tech stuff, dealing with drones and all sorts of fun stuff. But I sent it over to Mike Kaysen out there in San Antonio, and he reached out, and really, these folks are very familiar with seeing resumes. And we're talking about people who probably haven't had to write a resume for one thing, if they're just now getting out, or if they need to translate what they did in the military into what employers are looking for. And it is part of that. To have, with technology now, we are using, employers are using scanners to look for, specific language and specific words. You really do need somebody who can understand that language and guide you through it. It's almost like you're docent through a museum when it comes down to it.
You got what you don't know can hurt you, and you've got to learn.
Yeah. So a little knowledge is a dangerous thing. Right?
Okay, we're going to have to take a break in just a minute.
Sure.
But I want to tell you, this is important because you have a family member who is active duty, and they're going to come out. They're going to come out whether it's career or an enlistment, and they need help getting a job. So there's some tools that they need: proper resume, transportation, being certified. One of the things that we're going to talk about is you might have been a truck driver and you might have a military truck license. Well, there's certain ways that you can get a CDL in the state of Texas that you don't have to go through a whole lot. So there's things like that we need to know about. We'll be right back.
Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Heart's Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Well, welcome back. We are going to continue the conversation. We have a couple of great guests with us today. We have Chuck Wright. Chuck heads up our area of the Texas Veterans Commission and does an outstanding job. Then we have Joe Esparze, who's the chairman of the Texas Workforce Commission. But we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Big Jim Blythe. Jim is the host of the Veterans Impact Show. And we just want to say real quick, thank you to DBTV and to AUN Northern California, our sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Symbios Integrative Health, and my company, Healing Thine Hearts. We're glad to be here, glad to be talking about what we're talking about today, because Joe, as you were talking and I'm listening, I'm thinking about, okay, what about that guy, that person that's interested in what you guys are talking about? What would be the very first step you would tell a veteran to take, right? We talked about resumes, but even before that, how would they know where to submit it, who to go to, how to engage with the Texas Workforce Commission, with TVC? What would you suggest to them?
Well, I would definitely first recommend that they call their local workforce solution board. And like we spoke about earlier, there is a veteran liaison that is available at each of these locations. What they'll do is really kind of first things first is when are you getting out, or if you're a veteran, are you able to, are you leaving your job? Are you currently unemployed? There's a checklist that really has to go into starting out where can we meet you in your transition or in your quest to find a better job. And I believe that it really has that community. I think veterans are always they lean more on tackling a priority, mission oriented. The objective is to go out and just start looking and scouring for open, want ads on Monster and Indeed, and that's great. But I think the resource that we can provide is something a little bit more tailored to your specific skills, to your specific situation, as well as what are you available to do. If you're going to be moving to another location, that handoff can be made between your current location and somewhere where you're looking to go. So you would basically just report to the counterpart of that area.
Joe, I have to ask you now, what if you got an old fart like me, right? I'm a veteran, but I'm in my 60s. What would you tell a person like me? I'm not fresh out of the military, but I'm a vet and I'm looking to do something. What would you say to a guy like myself?
I'd say age is not a number when it comes to getting a good job. And something that you could be, and more importantly, meaningful. Meaningful employment is everything. I think it helps people with, it helps people have a routine, show up to a job where an employer appreciates your experience and your motivation. But when it comes to somebody, if they're looking for that, for a job, age is not a number when you come to the Workforce Commission and the local workforce solution boards, because again, they already have an idea of which employers are local who are picking people up, and it doesn't, when it comes to training, it's opportunities are there also for kind of earn while you learn experiences. So apprenticeships, obviously, and even internships are ways that folks can get their foot in the door.
So let me add one more thing to that, Joe. Sure. Just one more thing. Okay, let's say I'm out, but my background is not squeaky clean. Mm-hmm. What would you say to a guy like that? I might have a couple of marks on my record. What would you say to a person like that?
Well, we also we also have our ability to work with. I mean, even recently, if they're recently incarcerated, or if they're they're currently incarcerated, we have our second chance grace programs that have those specifics in mind. Again, when it comes down to the kind of the evaluation of what a person's past, their resume, what it really looks to. I think the best ability that the local folks can provide is kind of knowing the environment, knowing the geography of the employer on where we're looking. Because I know a lot of employers, we reach out to folks that maybe a couple of hours short of training to earn a credential, and I don't think there's a lot of I can't quantify it, but the credentials that are in high demand all across the state, they don't discriminate for stuff like that. I mean, if you're employable, if you're available to work, I'm sure we can find jobs for you.
Okay.
Chuck?
Joe, one of the questions I wanted to ask you, I want to jump over to the other side of this equation. If you're an employer who is looking for employees, and I hear that every time I walk into a company, how do they reach out to you? How do they contact you? What are you kind of looking for from them?
So one thing that we also provide, we provide an employer outreach coordinators all across the state of Texas, and they're usually work real closely with the local boards. If you're an employer, you're probably expanding in the state of Texas right now because a lot of job skills, a lot of jobs that we continue to add. You're probably working or contacting the local board. We have grant training programs that are very important that are available to employers that would help them train. So these are partnerships between employers and training providers. So your local community colleges. So the grant opportunities is like what we call the Skills Development Fund. This is for specific training to basically create the workforce that an employer needs.
Joe,
to fill certain positions.
could I interrupt you because we're going to have to go
Yeah,
to
please.
break? Well, we're going to come back and talk more about this in depth in the next session because this is important information for you to know. This is important because everybody deserves a job. Everybody needs a job, but not everybody can get a job. And here's the guys that are going to help you. So we'll be right back with these words from our partners. Thank you.
Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Heart's Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Hey, this is Jim, and this is a great conversation about employment. We're talking with Joe Esparze, and he is the head of the Texas Workforce Commission, correct?
Sure.
And he is the director. He is the man. Now, Joe, I'm curious. I want to go down a very short rabbit hole. There are similar things in other states, but it seems like everybody I talk to from other parts of the nation say, boy, you guys in Texas have really got it. You really push all of these veteran things, employment, the Texas Veterans Commission, et cetera, et cetera. Is that true? Because you're talking with people around the nation. So, because right now we are the number one veteran populated state in the nation. We surpassed California.
Yeah, that's correct. A lot of ways, and a lot of times we get calls from other states, and they want to know the Texas model, and that's basically the way we build, things from the ground up, and we're able to provide resources directly to those who need it. One specific, and I think we talked a little bit earlier about it, for veterans that are transitioning out of the military, it's important because our legislature continues to seek ways to provide credit for military training into that. And one is our College Credit for Heroes program. And I'm not sure which other states are duplicating this or if they have similar programs, but it's something that I'm very proud of our legislature, proud of our governor especially, for looking for ways so that we can get more veterans directly into credentialed programs.
Joe, one of the things, I had a guy call me years ago when Chuck and I first got started doing this, and he was a combat medic. That guy had more experience with trauma than anybody I had ever heard of. And yet he couldn't get a job with any EMS, with any hospital, because there was Texas required licenses and certifications. Now, you guys have gotten around a lot of that, haven't you? Or have got solutions to that?
I don't know if we're getting around it, but when it comes to the certification process, we work closely with Texas Department of Licensing and Regulations, who in most cases are the licensing center. And it's my impression that, that if, we have skills available, we are always trying to fast track those willing and able folks that have the knowledge and skills to provide services to the state and find jobs, that we really consider making sure that they get access to a quick route to get certified and back in track. So, and again, I mentioned the legislature still continuing to look for those efficiencies, so that we're able to get people in the trucking sector for folks that are already long haul hazmat certified truckers that were in the military, that we're able to get them into programs with ease.
And that's important. Yes, sir. Cedric, you had a question?
No. I was actually sitting here thinking about how this is the kind of show that I really like, right? What Chuck is bringing, what Joe is bringing, right? This is boots on the ground, grassroots. When we talk about providing help, hope, and healing to veterans and their families, that's what this is about. And everything I'm hearing, I'm like, man, I'm loving this. And I'm actually, you see me writing, it's like ideas, because there's people who are coming to mind that could definitely use this, and have some who have somewhat given up. And it's like, no, don't give up. We have resources for you. If you'll get up and go after it, it's out there.
Yeah.
And what Joe and what Chuck is talking about today are resources that are available to our veterans and their families.
Chuck, tell us more about how TVC partners with the Texas Workforce Commission.
So one of the things we do, and obviously we are focused narrow and deep on veterans. Texas loves her veterans, and I love saying that.
Yes.
And we back it up. But we partner very closely. While we have our own employment arm, we realize we can't be all things to all people. And we see TWC as a resource for us that if we don't have an employer we're directly talking to, it's entirely possible they do. In addition, one of the things that Joe has been talking about, and I want to reiterate this, is through Texas Workforce Commission, there are more and more Department of Labor, most of it's Department of Labor based grants for people to continue education. So one of the things that happens is you get somebody who has been trained to X level, but they need to go to X+1 or X+2. And so there are things that can be done that way. And that's why these partnerships that TVC has with the Texas Workforce Commission, with the Texas Veterans Land Board, with the Secretary of State's office, with the Texas Parks and Wildlife, which is kind of one of my favorites, just something that they do in September, and I'll be on again, and we'll talk about that more in the future. But all of these organizations have a soft spot in their hearts, if you will, for our veterans to try to get them trained up. And I want to say this again. Joe covers the entire state. He is not limited like I am to working with veterans. Well, I don't think I'm limited that way, but
No, absolutely not.
He is working with everybody in the state and has resources for everybody. And with that in mind, Joe, I wanted to ask you, great segue point. We talked about the Red, White, and You hiring events that are open to the entire public, but they let the veterans in an hour before they let everybody else in, which are super events. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but every one I attended this year, with one exception, was bigger than last year. And that one exception was they kind of had it in an odd location that was a little difficult to get to. But it was still, from what I understand, they were incredibly happy with it. So everybody wins. But I wanted to ask you, Joe, that's in the fall. That's late October, early November. Is there anything similar to that in the spring that people can look forward to that's not a almost full year away?
Yeah, and a lot of, just remind you about those events. We have a lot of same day hires that happen at all of those events that people, like employers, come in loaded to bring on veterans. When it comes to year-round benefits or year-round services, in the Texas Veterans Commission, we also partner with Combined Arms. Combined Arms is like a Texas Veterans network that houses all resources that the state can provide. But in the, I know that we continue to have specific outreach to veteran groups that are coordinating. The most of the ideas that we have are that are year round all over the state. Probably about 16 to 18 during our events that we're across the state with. Focus around the We Hire Veterans employer initiative that continues to provide basically jobs and opportunities for veterans.
So I'm going to throw an idea. You just gave me an idea.
Yeah.
So when we have somebody who instantly gets hired at one of these events, We need one of those machines that's got the spinning lights and noisemakers. And we need to make a big deal about it, like when somebody's at a Harley dealership and they buy it.
Yeah, I know
Harley,
San Antonio.
we have a lot of fun with it. But the other thing that we need, and we got to have this, and I already know what my walkout music's going to be. When you introduce speakers, everybody has to be introduced with their own walkout music, like you're at a baseball game. I think that's important. And my walkout music is going to be, "This is the best day of my life."
You bet. You bet. And I think this is critically important. One of the things that you guys have said, you have employers who want to hire veterans, have a soft, you use the word soft spot in their heart for veterans. I want to go a step further, because I've had veterans, and people want to employ veterans. They don't say, "I don't have a soft spot." They say, "I want the best. I want a guy who I know will show up on time." Veterans don't show up late. Man, if you're not 15 minutes early in the military, you're late. You get there on time, you're late. And so show up on time. Resourceful. What do you say in the Marine Corps about
adapt and overcome?
Thank you. Well, I was trying to get Chuck to say it.
Improvise and adapt, overcome. Yep.
You have no idea how many thoughts through. Wait a minute. Can I say that one on the air?
He had to filter through. He had to filter through to the ones we can talk on public air.
Right. But see, this is important. People need to know. So for a young man or woman who is getting out of high school, or they're in their senior year, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I'm not trained. I don't want to go to college. I can't afford to go to college. College is not right for me. There's opportunities in the military, which have tremendous training. Joe, you did it in transportation. I believe you said a truck mechanic.
Motor T.
Yeah,
I was fortunate to be part of the weapons company here at 123, located in Austin, and had a great opportunity with a lot of great Marines that were from the Central Texas area. It's a brotherhood, but that brotherhood and sisterhood actually extends all to all across. So you see veterans from all branches, at the workplace, and it's something spectacular to be a part of, and it always has been. Like we mentioned it earlier, that Texas is home to more veterans and women veterans than any other state in the nation. I have said in the past that it is one of our most precious natural resources that Texas is able to provide, because it's a level of leadership, and I say turnkey employability when it comes to transitioning veterans. And one thing that we have to understand, in a lot of areas, we especially, I'm always thinking about, Fort Hood as being one of the biggest military installations in the nation. We have to treat annually, we have to treat a large group of service members leaving, in this case, the Army, as a dislocated worker program. So a lot of this is a very important step into recognizing every pipeline available to make sure that they're ready. And in a lot of cases, we're able to get to them prior to their, I think in the Marine Corps, we call it EAS, the end of active service, months before they come up to that date. So they're available to hit the ground running. And then that doesn't only stop for them, it extends to their spouse and family members who are old enough to work in employment. So I think Texas is
Joe,
a great job.
talk a little bit about and you hit on something I think is extremely important. The services that you provide for military spouses. And those are certainly available for the TVC as well. But talk about that a little bit, because that is a huge, huge market.
Yeah. So again, veterans have kind of the first pick of specific job openings in the state of Texas. They, and I know this happens with state agencies. If you get a certain amount of job applications for a position, you have to, it's by law, a certain percentage of those applications have to be interviewed as veterans. The employers or the local workforce solution boards, we also have grants that are funneled to not grants, but just money in general that's federal dollars that go to supporting transition veterans and their spouses. So, and it's my opinion that we treat the spouses, in a specific nature, along with the veteran that are showing up to the front door of these workforce solution areas. So I think they get a lot of priority resources and attention as well as they deserve.
That's outstanding. And one thing, and I'm going to jump back to TVC real fast, and I like to brag about this. Every state in the nation has their own state agency that serves veterans. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Texas is the only one that is a standalone agency. We're not under another department. But we were also the very first in the nation to have our own Women's Veterans Initiative. And the lady who is running that now is really doing a bang-up job. They've got their own women veteran-focused podcast. They have their own schedule of events that are coming up. So if there's any female veterans that are here, first and foremost, let me say, and I'm shocked how often I hear this, how many of them don't think of themselves as veterans. You swore an oath. You took the same risk everybody else did. You made the same promises. You are just as much a veteran as everybody else. But if you're looking to tap into the sisterhood a little bit, that is one of the ways to do it. And connect to us at TVC. Sorry, I was kind of taking us a little off. I know that's not quite Texas Workforce Solution, but
Chuck, that's really important.
And then, Joe, one question I wanted to ask you. You mentioned several times the local workforce solution boards. Now, I've gotten out in my hometown. I'm going to pick on East Texas, and I'm going to say it was Lufkin, Texas. I've gone back to Lufkin, Texas, and you say, well, where's the local workforce solutions board? What would be the best way for somebody to find that? Would it be on your website? Talk about that a little bit, if you would.
Yeah, TexasWorkforceCommission.gov, twc.texas.gov is our website. There's I think on the front page has services that you're able to click and find location. So it's basically a platform that allows you to enter your information, and it'll send you to the closest workforce solution board. Usually it's a phone number, and those are the business hours are pretty much regular business hours. You can send them an email. You can walk up right into their front door, and veterans will absolutely have an open station if they need to get services online. They can jump on computers that are connected to Wi-Fi and get access to it.
Joe, let me ask you a question.
I can't tell you that enough, how important those local boards are. So
let me ask you a question, because this program goes out nationwide, worldwide. We're also in California. So if somebody is getting out of the military and they want to come to Texas.
Not trying to make a political statement.
Well, yeah, but if they're in another state and they're getting out of the military, they can call us and get started, can't they? All right.
Yeah, most importantly, yeah. There's, again, activity where if they're planning on coming back to the state or even moving here, it's important that they start connecting and contacting as early as possible so that they can start getting their resumes and stuff ready. So that's very helpful.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we're going to give you those websites, and we're going to connect you with the right people. So this is Jim Blythe, Cedric White, and my very close friend, Chuck Wright, Texas Veterans Commission Commissioner. We are the Veterans Impact Show. We're all about help, hope, and healing. And help means getting a job. We're here for you.
Roger that.
Welcome back, and thanks to our great sponsors, Fairway Independent Mortgage, Healing Thine Hearts Ministry, and Symbios Integrative Health. Now, let's get back to this conversation.
Guys, this is really great because ain't nobody that comes to Texas that's a veteran should go without a job if he wants one and can do the work. But Chuck, how do they find the Texas Veterans Commission? What's the website?
Texas Veterans Commission. And if you want what I call our direct line, I have been asking people to send an email. Joe is comfortable having people call, but one of the reasons I talk about our info, and it's a really simple email address, it's info, I-N-F-O, at tvc.texas.gov, is now we have a paper trail. And we literally, and I'm going to tell this story on Cedric. Cedric asked me a question because he was looking for help for his son's daughter, so his grandson, but his son is also a Navy vet. And we got a record of it because we sent it in through the email, and I kind of followed up on it again and said, hey, what's going on with this, guys? And so you create that record of being able to contact people. I tell people just to Google Texas Veterans and we'll pop up. It's just a lot faster and a lot easier than trying to remember a whole, because if you misspell something it's really weird. If you misspell something in a website address, it doesn't show up a lot of the times. But if you misspell it in Google, Google figures it out.
Yeah.
Google's smarter than I am.
No, I'm not saying that because it keeps messing up my letters that I type up. Joe, where should we go to find out about the Workforce Commission? Let's get that out there.
Our website is twc.texas, spelled out, so twc.texas.gov, and that's our website. You'll get splashed right onto our homepage, and then you find resources through that.
Well, obviously you put on events here in Texas, but if you go to the website, you put on their events and where they're going to be. So if I'm up in Fort Sill in Oklahoma and I want to come to an event in Dallas, I can find out about it, correct?
That's correct, yeah. And you would basically just kind of go through the location finder for whatever workforce board you have, and then you can connect to their specific page locally and find out everything you need to know about what's going on in that area.
Okay, so if you want to come to Texas, we can get you a job. We can connect you with all kinds of benefits. If you've got a business, we can get you employees and we can get you going. And Chuck, I think, he mentioned Rob's deal, Forge Now. Thank you.
Yeah.
Man, there are more programs like that in Texas to be able to help you to be trained to get a job. You don't have to spend 2 years in apprenticeship. It's about what? 12 weeks?
It's 7 to 10 weeks. And let me explain. Forge Now is one of 12 accredited what I call skilled labor training programs in the state. And I don't know if that number includes our technical colleges, TSTC, because they have a brand new location that's just being built on I-35. We drove by it yesterday on our way back from San Antonio. But Texas has some incredible programs, and this is where TWC can really help, is if somebody wants to come back and somebody wants to get into skilled labor training. Now, Forge Now, in 7 to 10 weeks, will have you set up so you walk in and you've got an apprentice license, an accredited apprentice license. And according to Rob Holmes, who's the Army vet, so he's on the losing end of the bet this weekend. Sorry, it was just going out right after Army Navy. And some of us love to twist the knife just a little bit.
Just a bit.
But, and Rob is a good friend of Joe and I's and doing some great stuff. And he's a West Point grad. We love to pick on him, but he has he has companies that say, as soon as you get somebody certified, send them to me. These guys are starting at $20 to $25 an hour. And this is up here in North Texas. We have schools all over the state. We hope to have more of them. And he's even looking at, because of all the shipbuilding that's finally going on, we're going to do shipbuilding here in Texas, and we need maritime welders. So all of you people listening around the country, if you're looking for a much better lifestyle and a much better place to live, come to Texas.
And it's tax. We don't have an income tax.
No income
now,
tax.
we got other taxes, but let me tell you.
But so does everybody else.
Yeah,
Everybody's
right.
got property
Yeah,
tax.
all right, guys, this
We're
is
business
really
friendly.
tremendous. Joe, you're a Marine. Chuck, you're a Marine. Cedric, you and I are Navy.
That's right.
Very quick, one word. What would you say to a young man or woman who's getting out of high school or getting out of college? What would you say? Joe, we'll start with you.
I'd say, yeah, absolutely consider, whether you're willing or you're ready to get into the military. There's a few people that I was able to mentor who are asking about it. And I always tell them, look, you're gonna find a wonderful experience going in and considering the military, especially for folks that may not be ready for college or just really want to have a better understanding of the world around them before they commit to, even if it's a trade. Some people just need a little bit more time to find themselves. And I think the military, while they're serving their country, they're also gaining resources and benefits. But they're also gaining a network of people that are there for life, really.
You said one word. That word is opportunity.
Yes.
But for the girls, it's a couple more word. Target-rich environment, and you know what I mean. No. You know what? I know everybody's kind of going crazy about that, but think about it. You're talking about if you're a girl, you're looking to be around men of character and quality. You're not going to find a better environment than the military.
All right. I know, Cedric, you and I both, because we've talked to people, we're running out of time. I want to, Cedric, would you close us with a prayer, brother?
I will. Father God, we thank you for what you've given us today. We thank you for people like Chuck, people like Joe, who have a heart to help. And we ask that you continue to help us along to provide help, hope, and healing to those veterans, to their families, to those associated with them. Bless those companies that are looking to hire vets. And Father God, bless this country. Let it come back to being one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. In Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. This is your Veterans Impact Show. Share this program. Get it out. Tell people, because this will help people get a job. We had the man for the Texas Workforce Commission, and we've got the man for the Texas Veterans Commission. Thank you.
Thank you,
Have
Joe.
a great day.
Thank you, Joe.